Welcome back to the Best Start Guide, people. It is day 180. That's right. This is the day that we collect Scyl of the Drakes. So we're collecting Scyl of the Drakes, and this is what we're going to talk about this episode. As soon as it stops flashing pop-ups at me. And as you can see, we've also got Arby waiting in the wings. I'm going to collect her during the next clan versus clan. I'm not going to collect her just yet. And we've also got all the Drexthar fragments, I think. Yeah, there they are. And yeah, I got Slixius too. So I might even do a build of him, but I don't know if we necessarily need him on this account. So let's talk about Scyl of the Drakes. Let's go take a look at her. So here she is in all her majesty. Let's go over the kit. So she's got Drake Swiftness, attacks one enemy, has a 20% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns, has a 30% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%. And this can be booked to about a 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter, so you can use her for some turn meter control. It's not like it's as strong as, say, Arbiter. Arbiter. I'm sorry, it's early. It's not like it's as strong as Armiger, who's got like a flat 30% that he does every single time, as long as it's critical, but you can just build him and make sure he's got a 100% crit rate. So attacks all. So here's her wing beat flurry. This is the A2. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 20% chance of placing a stun buff for 1 turn. This books up to about a 35% chance. If you take the Fearsome Presence Mastery, you can get it to 40%. And if you put her in a stun set, you can get an extra chance from the stun set. So you have each hit getting a 40% chance, and then the stun set getting a 23% chance. So you can make her reasonably stunny. Is that useful on this account? No. If you have a really good dedicated stun champion, like for this account, I've got Lady Mikage. When she changes form, she can just go for her Skittering Death, attacks all enemies, and she just has a 100% chance to stun, and she also decreases turn meter, so she's just really kicking butt at that. So this is the interesting thing about getting Scyl of the Drakes on this account at this point. When I first started this guide, I was excited for the 6-month mark when Scyl of the Drakes would enter, because she brings a lot. You got her A3, Phoenix Wright, revives an ally with 50% HP and places a 50% ally protection buff on them for 2 turns. It's handy to have a reviver. This books to a 4-turn cooldown, and it is handy to have a reviver, but this account just got so many, it's kind of funny. So if I isolate just the, I'll take everybody from the Master Vault, and I will take anybody that has other effect, positive effect, revive. These are the revivers. Like, maybe I can expand like this. We got 15 different revivers here. Starting with maybe the most powerful single target revive that we got is White Queen Ancora. And you got Sun Wukong can revive himself. Malkith can revive 2. Skull Crown actually kind of doesn't really count. Her revive only works if she's paired with Sinesha. We don't have Sinesha. We have an AoE revive here. We have a single target revive on Reliquary Tender. We have an AoE revive, AoE revive, AoE revive, single target revive, single target revive, double revive. He automatically revives someone else whenever he goes down, and whenever he goes down, he automatically revives and immediately attacks. So Scyl of the Drakes is still a good champion on this account, but I don't know if she's going to transform this account. Maybe you had different luck. So for you, maybe she is going to be transformative. I am still going to build her, probably during CVC. I don't think we have enough food to do that right at the moment. But moving on to her her passive, Boundless Life, and this is maybe my favorite thing about her. Heals all allies by 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. also places a 30% increased speed buff on a random ally for 2 turns. And that's maybe my least favorite thing about my favorite thing, because this is really good passive healing on everybody. And if you get the masteries right, you can increase the healing with lay on hands, with rejuvenation, healing savior, merciful aid. Lasting gifts will make the buffs last longer. You probably want to give her something like timely intervention, so that she has a chance to go faster when you have a downed ally. And actually, it's the same thing with the one right above it. Spirit haste and timely intervention, these two really go well together. Because when somebody's dead, increases speed by 8 for each dead ally, stacks up to 24. That's a pretty good boost to speed. So that said, how do you build Scyl of the Drakes? Well, I'll tell you what I would do. I mean, we could even do a mock-up, because I'm not sure if I'm going to put gear on her just yet. But there are several gear sets that I'd say are top tier gear sets for her. And I would say one of them, speed, right? Speed makes sense because the faster she is, the more frequently she goes, the more frequently she can put out this healing all allies by 10% of their max HP. So speed is good. And by that same token, Relentless is good, wherever that is. Relentless, because with Relentless, you got 18% chance to get an extra turn. Consecutive chances are reduced by 45%. I think they added that recently, just so you didn't get a whole bunch of extra turns in a row, because that did kind of get weird. But with this, if you get a second turn, you're just immediately going to pump out the exact same amount of HP again. So you'd be getting 20% HP on everybody, which is a huge amount. Now, my personal favorite way of building Scyl of the Drakes is, of course, the same way I like to build every reviver. I like to build them in regen. So if you put them in a regen set, you have heals by 15% every turn, which means she herself, every time she gets a turn, and you want to make her fast, every time she gets a turn, she's going to get 10% plus the 15%, plus you can even pad it with Immortal. Oh wow, I got a bunch of speed boots to process. Yeah, just a moment. But anyway, Immortal, I'm going to do it this way so I don't get lost. We'll go with just new. But with Immortal, you get an extra 3% on top of the 15%, but you also get more HP, so you have a bigger base of HP to begin with. So you're getting 28% healing to Scyl of the Drakes every turn. So that's something that you want. I'm just going to isolate the boots. I'll say primary stats, anything that's not speed, I'm going to sell. I did a whole bunch of campaign farming, and I'm just going to ditch all of it. How much is actually speed? Wow, we got a 6-star speed boot. I'm just going to build this right now. And I'm going to see if we can finally get this ascended with speed. And nope, it's another dud. We'll have to keep trying. But we can now, maybe if I deactivate boots and just everything else. And I do apologize for this. I didn't actually mean to do any gear cleansing right now, but a lot of this stuff is basically just junk. Practically all of it. I'd say select all. It won't let me select all. Okay, let's go with rank and rarity. Anything that's this basic, select all of it. With the exception of the boots I just built, obviously. That was almost a disaster. So we sell this. Then everything else, maybe the blues. I mean, some of these look like they have potential. I'm going to get rid of this stuff. I might even want to keep the crit rate gauntlets just in case. Because I'm not getting, if you don't have a lot of good crit damage stuff on your account yet, you can always try to build the inverse and go with the crit rate gauntlets and then try to get as much crit damage on your the rest of your gear on the substats. But really, it's better to start with the crit damage if you're dealing with a nuker. Of course, Scyl of the Drakes. She's a So here's another thing about Scyl of the Drakes. She's a defense-based champion, so her damage scales off this. But you're probably not intending for her to really do that much damage. You could if you really want to, though. You could make her smack. That is one way to do it. But the way I like to build Scyl of the Drakes is I like to put her in Regen Immortal, and I like my primary stats to be HP. This way, if you have anybody that ignores your defense completely, like a Mortu Macabre, for example, just ignores 100% of your defense and just completely kills you. So what I like to do is I like to have HP gauntlets and HP chests because you get the HP percent. And that scales a lot better than the flat HP. So I might roll this set up to 12, for example. I might actually want to go with as much speed as possible. So we'll say priority stats, speed is high. Speed will be king here. And I'm going to take the fastest gauntlets we have, because I'm just going to do a mock-up. I'm not necessarily going to take this off my other champions, but I might if it's champions I don't really use. Like Bivald, I'm not really using him right now. We've even got some accuracy, and you do kind of want to get her stun wave up to an accuracy of about 200. That's not really the primary use of her, though. So if I can't get my accuracy anywhere near 200 without compromising the max HP too much, then I won't do it. But basically, we could take these. We're not in a Bommel rotation right now, so my Buren Giri probably doesn't need to be built at the moment, and I might end up building him with stronger stats later. Although we could also take Bivald's chest. Poor Bivald. But I'll just take these for now, and then I'll take off that requirement, because I might actually go with speed boots. Because speed boots probably are going to make a bigger difference than the HP percent boots. And also, I mean, right now we're dealing with a level 1 5-star unit, so we're not even getting a sense of the best extent of her stats. But we will get an idea of how accurate and how fast she'll be, because these don't scale with level for some reason. They just don't. So I've been taking stuff exclusively from Immortal, which I actually should not be doing, because we want to start doing stuff with regen as well, right? So here's the mock-up. We could take these gauntlets. Am I still... I wanted to still be on HP percent. So we take the gauntlets, the chest piece, and say the boots. And we'll take anything with substat speed. And really, when I'm doing the mock-up, I'll often just start taking everything from the set that I want before moving on to the next thing. So at this point, I just need helmets and shields. So we'll take the fastest shield. We'll take the fastest helmet. And I'd be getting to a speed of 174 using this gear. So then I can determine what is going to be the best two pieces to take from Immortal. And that gives me 12 speed. That doesn't give me any more speed. Maybe we don't just look at the helmets and shields. So with the helmet, we could get 12. That doesn't gain anything. That gains 3, but isn't a main stat HP percent. So there's a big dip in HP. I'd probably end up taking this. And just to complete the Immortal set then. I mean, this is not a dip in speed, at least. Neither is this, mind you. But yeah, I'd probably do something like that. So we have two pieces of Immortal. We have 4 pieces of regen. I still have it. That's why I can't exceed 200 speed. I forgot to do the primary speed speed boots. So we could take these, or say these, any of these. So this, for example, we have anything with accuracy on it, like that's got accuracy on it. But again, I don't want to take that stuff away from Sully. But this is probably how I'd start building her. So she's got her speed up to 206. Her HP's almost tripled. That's about how I'd build her. But there is actually one more fun way that you can build her, which is in the stun set. I already kind of suggested that one earlier on in the video, but here in the descriptions of which sets to put her in, I'd say you probably want to look at bolster's another one. If you happen to have enough good pieces of bolster, that'd bring a nice little shield that can't be removed at the start of a fight. Could be really handy in arena. And bolster still gives you a 10% HP regeneration. So that's not quite as good as regen, but it's still pretty good. Another one is Immortal as a subset. That could be good with anything. Speed as a subset. That could be good with pretty much anything. Divine Speed, obviously, same thing. Except ever so slightly better than the speed set because you have a little bit of extra shielding that it places on her. Then you've got... what else have you got? Relentless. If you have enough good pieces of Relentless, you can't go wrong with Relentless. So that's about what I'd say about that. There's one other piece that I like to put on revivers, mainly in arena, and that's Stone Skin. But the thing about Stone Skin is it helps you survive in that first round, sure. And then if you're going to come in and try to revive the party, Scyl of the Drakes just isn't particularly good at that. She's going to be reviving one person at 50% HP with ally protection, and that's about all they're going to get. So she's not really good as a primary reviver in arena, as like a Stone Skin reviver. Really, you want somebody who can bring up the whole party. So like you got Sulfurion, he could do that. He's not necessarily particularly tough, particularly not the way I built him, because I wanted to build him nice and accurate. So I got him to 200 accuracy. And on a 6-month-old account, it's kind of difficult to make an accuracy-based reviver both tough and accurate. You kind of have to choose. You kind of have to make concessions. But somebody like the White Queen Ancora, this is somebody I'd probably be likelier to use in arena. And if you just compare White Queen Ancora to Scyl of the Drakes for a moment, White Queen Ancora does not have the passive healing every round, right? And she isn't tossing around increased speeds, but she has other things. When she uses her revive, she's reviving them at 75% turn meter, and it's a lot easier to get things going. If you've just been nuked out, now it's your turn, you can revive somebody, and your person you've revived will have time to actually do something. And that's important, because if you don't have time to do anything in the arena, you're kind of SOL. So I'm going to say that's almost it. I wanted to devote this episode to Scyl of the Drakes. That's Scyl of the Drakes. You know what? That's probably good enough. I do have, here's a precursor to what I'm going to talk about in the next episode, because I mean, I'm calling this the mini account, and it's getting to the point where it's a little bit silly, because I mean the clan boss damage at this point is 160 million against the Ultra Nightmare clan boss. And I just threw together a Hydra team. I didn't mean for this to be a particularly good team, but I scored 73.46 million damage with this team. So I'll probably do an episode about the team itself tomorrow. I can't do the run again because I've already done it. This is the one problem. I made this team. How did I know that this would end up doing 73 million when I labeled the team? I labeled it after it finished. I went back in and I changed it. So that's how that happened. But anyway, that's about all I got for you guys today. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're having a good day. and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.